What the? Dude, holy shit!
Oh my god, do you see that? Wait, hold on.
I'm zooming. It's huge.
Keep the camera on it. Oh, it's moving. It's...
A committed Bigfoot investigator from the Squatch Mafia channel went by himself into the thick backcountry of North Carolina to look into strange activity. The uneasy encounter starts when the researcher hears wild, violent noises that sound like large animals battling somewhere among the trees.
I hope you can hear this. It sounds like gorillas fighting in the tree. They're breaking limbs bigger around than me. I've never seen anything like it in my life. This is the second time I've come over here. And the first time when I got up under them trying to figure out what it was, they started breaking limbs off and throwing them at me. And I still cannot figure out what it is. Look, they're ruining this freaking place. What in God's name is it? It's bigger than me, whatever it is. Because it's breaking limbs off that it would take me 2 minutes to saw.
Whatever is hidden nearby shows frightening force, snapping heavy branches with aggression, including limbs he describes as wider than his own body. The danger rises fast as the same creature, reportedly known for throwing objects toward the cameraman, appears to finish the display by tearing away half of a healthy tree. The researcher explains that the tree measured about 8 to 12 inches across, suggesting a level of power far beyond ordinary wildlife in the area.
Look, see, he's coming right above me right here. He's fixing to throw something at me, whatever it is. Yeah, they don't like you messing with them. Look. What in God's name is going on? Look, that's bigger than me. Look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. What in Jesus' name is doing this? Oh my God, he just took half the tree down. Something, oh my God, oh my God. Oh, it's gotta be a, I don't even think a bear would have a chance in Hades and it doing this. It's something stronger than a bear. And he is pissed. Yeah, that's a healthy tree. About 8 to 10, maybe even 12 inches in diameter that he just broke because he's pissed because I'm getting close to him. I think I'm gonna bounce because I think he just hit the ground, which means he's about to face me on foot. And I don't really want to wrestle with somebody that can tear trees down just because they're mad. My God, look at the tree he just freaking broke in half.
After witnessing the terrifying destruction, the researcher believes the hostile presence must be stronger than a bear and, sensing that it is disturbed by him being there, chooses to back away before the situation can become physical. The footage raises a difficult question. Is this evidence of a Sasquatch protecting its territory with dangerous force? Or could some logical explanation account for the sounds and destruction of a tree that large? Share your thoughts in the comments below. A crew from the Bigfoot Society channel was recording far inside the isolated forests of Prince Edward Island, Canada, hoping to find signs of the legendary Sasquatch. In this rare clip, a huge dark shape suddenly appears near the tree line.
You ready? Okay. All right. Damn it. All right, go. What the? Dude, holy shit. Did you see that?
Then disappears almost instantly. The footage has sparked intense debate across the paranormal community, with viewers arguing whether it shows a genuine sighting or a carefully staged hoax. This next clip comes from a man who never describes himself as a Bigfoot tracker or any kind of Sasquatch investigator. Still, one night, he was clearly shaken when his two 200-pound English Mastiffs hurried to the cabin's patio door, desperate to get back inside. Curious about what could scare dogs that size, he picked up a flashlight and pointed it toward the trees. That was when he noticed what looked like two eyes, about 7 or 8 feet off the ground, staring straight back from the darkness. He kept sweeping the hillside with the light, seeing those forward-facing eyes again and again before they shifted slightly, almost as if a head had turned. Even the dogs refused to go back outside, visibly uneasy about whatever was waiting beyond the cabin. The man continued searching the slope, trying to follow the glowing eyes as they appeared, disappeared, and reappeared between the shadows. He had once wondered why people in supposed Bigfoot videos never charged toward the creature. In that moment, he understood why walking into black woods was not a realistic choice, especially when his normally fearless Mastiffs wanted nothing to do with it. There is no solid evidence that the figure was Bigfoot, and the uploader never claims it was. Still, he points out that the eyes seemed 7 to 8 feet high, with no branches, rocks, or structures nearby that could lift an animal. Whatever stood there was tall, and it scared 2 massive guard dogs. That alone makes the encounter deeply unsettling. A group of committed Bigfoot investigators called Squatch Mafia placed trail cameras deep in the Appalachian Mountains, an area rumored to hide large primates. The team found footage from late 2023 showing a small, dark figure moving upright as it crossed the frame. At the same time, audio recorded strange, high-pitched cries that do not match local wildlife.
Đó. Đó. Đó.
The combination of the small bipedal shape and unusual vocalizations led some viewers to believe the camera captured a young Bigfoot. Skeptics argue it may be a misidentified bear cub, but the encounter is now discussed as evidence that Sasquatch is breeding in the American wilderness. In 1974, a researcher working near Mount St. Helens found something strange pressed into the snow, an enormous footprint unlike any track he had encountered. The cast revealed a huge print, much larger than a human foot, with deep details and a consistent shape that quickly sparked debate. A photo showing the cast beside a real foot made its massive size even clearer. Some view it as strong evidence of Sasquatch activity in the area, while others believe it was a carefully made hoax, even decades later. the footprint continues to feed one of America's best-known cryptid mysteries. While exploring Northern California, filmmaker Roger Patterson claimed to have recorded proof of a strange creature moving through the wild. In this image, Patterson is seen holding a plaster cast of a huge footprint he believed came from an abominable snow lady, while another large cast rests on the table. Some say the casts support his encounter with something unknown, while others call it part of a hoax. What do you think? Real discovery or another famous Bigfoot mystery? A short, clear video shared on October 13th, 2025 appears to show tourists traveling through the Amazon jungle recording a dark, upright shape moving between thick vegetation.
Oh my god, do you see that? Wait, hold on.
I'm zooming. It's huge.
Keep the camera on it. Oh, it's moving. It's going deeper.
I got it.
Its stance, size, and walking motion quickly draw their attention, leading to startled reactions as they attempt to zoom in while the vehicle passes. Although the footage lasts only moments, it has drawn debate because the Amazon has a long history of alleged humanoid encounters, from indigenous stories such as the Mapinguari to recent reports from explorers and local guides. Because huge sections of jungle remain remote and barely studied, the area continues to inspire claims about creatures not officially identified. It remains unclear whether the clip shows an animal mistaken for something else, a visual illusion, or something unknown to science. What do you think the tourists saw deep in the Amazon? In the small French town of Bourgneuf, an old story has returned. A frozen, hairy humanoid allegedly displayed at a countryside fair during the 1990s. Images from that period show a realistic body trapped in ice, leading to comparisons with the Minnesota Iceman and raising questions about whether it was a fake or something far stranger. The photos are gaining attention again as AI creators animate classic cryptid images, turning still pictures into lifelike movement and reviving curiosity around the case. Was the Yeti of Bourgneuf artwork, taxidermy, or something unexplained? And what do you think about AI reviving forgotten legends? This video explores a creative project from a content creator who used today's AI technology to animate several famous Bigfoot photos. The original pictures were captured in different places across multiple years, while the AI tool turns them into brief moving versions of what witnesses may have seen at that moment. What's your opinion on this AI recreation? Is technology making these sightings easier to understand, or creating even more questions about them? TikTok creator Mr. Woodbooger posted a chilling clip taken from a 2024 live stream. One night, he and a friend headed far into the forest to perform Bigfoot calls. At first, the moment felt more strange than scary, but as the live stream continued, odd sounds started answering from the dark.
Do the call again. That's us.
See, that sounds like a small
That sounds like a smaller one. It's not the same sound as a while ago. Y'all share this out. This will be your first Bigfoot calling. We've never had them this active.
Not here, but I think we're picking them off. I think it's in their hunting area. They're always going to get snatched up by Sasquatch and get some good Sasquatch love in here. Man.
Listen.
See, that's a bigger one.
That is a different... Oh, God. Listen. This is us.
Smoke too much. I like it.
Oh, listen. Did y'all hear that?
That's two at the same time.
That was two of them at the same time calling back.
Calling Roy, dude.
Do y'all hear that?
I've had them call back to me and stuff before, but I don't usually do this when those people in the woods.
Hell, Roy's there, King. Might as well.
Hey, if
That's
the
not
people,
Roy. For the people who think that's Roy,
there's Roy right
there's
there.
Roy right there. I just let y'all know that it is not Roy doing that. Listen, even the dogs behind us are cutting up now.
There's a surprise at the truck, too.
Does everybody hear that?
I think they step in front of the camera so they can watch me do it and see I'm not doing it.
Everybody, now this is us calling. Now watch him. Alright, now listen. Somebody said something like you're getting closer.
It sounds like one's running.
Oh, crap. Do y'all hear the dogs? Even the dogs are cutting up now. Oh, God. No, it's definitely not a coyote.
The pair heard disturbing vocal noises coming from somewhere in the woods and neither one could tell what was making them. As the sounds continued to echo between the trees, the atmosphere shifted fast. What started as a basic nighttime Bigfoot call gradually became something much more unsettling. The clip is brief, but their reaction feels genuine, and the noises from the forest are difficult to dismiss. So what was really responding to them from the darkness? The missing 1970s footage feels less like an ordinary video and more like something kept out of sight for over 50 years before anyone beyond a small group finally watched it. The recording is believed to date back to the 1970s. Although the exact filming date remains unknown, it was finally made public on March 28, 2026. And once it surfaced, people in the cryptid community immediately started discussing it. The footage is rough and grainy. In the frame, the forest appears remote and dense with old-growth timber, the kind of place where logging trails eventually disappear into nothing. The lighting in the scene suggests late afternoon. The person behind the camera kept the shot surprisingly steady for that era. The footage was found decades after it was filmed, and the identity of the cameraman has never been officially verified. Even so, the clip itself offers a few hints. The filmer seems to have been alone. They were using a camera that would have been costly in the 1970s, and the way the image is framed suggests they may have already been watching something before they began recording. The lens is already aimed at a dense section of brush. Then, after a brief pause, the subject comes out. It moves from behind cover and walks directly into open ground. It does not pause, scan the area, or attempt to hide. The figure is leaning sharply forward. Its arms hang extremely low, swinging well below where human arms normally would. Its neck is difficult to see, with the head set close to broad, powerful shoulders. The head also appears rounder and more compressed than many common Bigfoot descriptions. Together, the posture and gait create a form that would be hard for a person in a costume to imitate. The body does not move like a typical human. The hips shift in an unusual way, while the shoulders rotate instead of bouncing. What makes the footage even more unusual is how exposed the figure is. Many Sasquatch accounts describe something cautious and alert, something that quickly avoids people. But this figure crosses open ground in daylight without looking around. Some investigators think the location was so isolated that it simply did not expect anyone to be nearby. Others believe it may have used that route so often that it no longer saw it as dangerous. Whatever the reason, it walks across the clearing as if moving toward a specific place, then vanishes into the next tree line. The cameraman never speaks once. The video ends on empty grass. Maybe the figure was unaware, distracted, or simply confident in that remote setting. But if it was that exposed, why did it never look back? In mid-March, a video began circulating on Facebook and quickly divided viewers into two camps. The footage shows a man recording in a remote area after spotting what appeared to be a small hominid-like figure on a steep hillside. At first, the figure is partly concealed behind a rock, but once it stands and reveals more of its body, the filming starts. The creature looks small, perhaps only about 3 to 4 feet tall. Its face is almost entirely covered in coarse brown hair. Much of the body appears covered too, yet the arms look strangely narrow and nearly hairless. Its appearance feels less like a modern animal and more like something tied to an older branch of human history. Because the footage was not recorded in the United States, some researchers began looking outside North American cryptid lore. On the Indonesian island of Flores, locals have long shared stories of the Abu Gogo, a small, hairy being said to stand roughly 3 to 4 feet tall, with long arms and odd mumbling speech. Those legends became even more fascinating after scientists discovered Homo floresiensis on that same island, an ancient human species that stood close to the height described in the old stories. In the jungles of Sumatra, another creature known as the orang pendek is described in similar terms. It is often said to stand 3 to 5 feet tall, walk upright, have short fur, and possess unusual strength for its size. For now, there is no definite explanation. The footage is strange. The location clearly connects with several regional legends, and the figure is clearer than many similar videos. But the question remains simple. Did this clip capture a rare unknown creature, or something that merely appears that way from very far away? Based in the United States, Exploring with Bear is a solo wilderness camping channel focused on overnight trips in deep, isolated forests. Its filming style is raw and handheld, recording live audio from remote places sometimes tied to local cryptid legends. On April 6th, 2026. The creator is by himself somewhere in the Smoky Mountains, United States.
That sounded like a knock. That was another knock. Shh. No frickin' way, man.
He sent vocal calls into the dark woods and waited. Almost right away, knocking sounds answered back. That alone was enough to make him pause. The responses were not coming from a single place. They seemed to come from different directions inside the tree line, as though something was shifting between positions out there.
It's bigger than I thought it was. That was decently big. That just stepped and broke a twig. It's somewhere down in that thicket of mess. Oh my goodness. What if I already come up on a bear? Or Bigfoot? A wood booger? That was a big snip bridge. I just heard it move again. What? No.
He tried again. The same pattern repeated. He called out, and knocks came back from the hillside. That repetition changed the mood. One knock can be dismissed, but the same pattern returning more than once begins to feel less like chance and more like something deliberately answering.
In the tent. And it just started raining. And I'm deep in the Smoky Appalachian Mountains on an abandoned road. Oh boy. Let me get my bag in the tent. That's it.
Then the sounds shifted. Whistles carried through the mountains. Soon after, a deep growl rose from somewhere below the ridgeline. The timing was difficult to ignore. It came right after he reacted to what was happening around him, almost as if something was reacting in return.
No frickin' way. Oh, there it was. It said it again. No way, man. No frickin' way. Did you hear that? These mountains are ridiculous. That said help. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, this is so spooky, man. Alright, so this is what I want. I want you guys that have knowledge and experience of Appalachia. What kind of crazy experience?
Then one moment stood out from everything else. A sound from deeper in the forest below did not match anything in the surroundings. It seemed almost like a voice. No source appeared. Nothing visible moved, but it did not sound like an animal, wind, or a breaking branch. It sounded like speech.
It's scratching. It's scratching the ground. Oh no, no frickin' way, man. That was a growl. Oh, it just growled. It's growling.
After that, whatever was outside moved closer. Scratching began just beyond the tent. Then a growl came from directly beside the tent wall. The distance had disappeared. It was no longer somewhere among the trees, it was right there, on the opposite side of the fabric. Then something hit the tent from outside. That changed the situation completely. It was no longer only sound coming from the forest. Something had physically touched the camp. The entire night moved in one direction, distant knocks. Then movement, then vocal sounds, then contact with the tent. Nothing was ever seen. By morning, the forest had gone completely quiet, leaving everything that happened connected only to what was heard. What makes this case stand out is the progression. Every stage comes closer than the one before it, and the sounds shift from random noise into something that seems responsive. A growl beside a tent wall and a strike from outside are not easy to explain away. What do you think was moving through those mountains that night? Ash K operates a wilderness exploration channel centered on remote off-grid camping, bushcraft survival, and isolated overnight trips deep inside forest settings. The channel often captures real-time reactions to unexplained noises and movement encountered during these outings. This specific footage comes from October 5th, 2024, in a remote North American forest.
Be like, good morning. So here we are starting the day off with what, Zach?
Should I just make the coffee or tell about the night?
You can tell about the coffee and your night.
I have some manuka honey I'm adding in. I also have some pear mushrooms. It has
The video does not begin during the middle of the night. It begins the following morning. But even in daylight, something is obviously still troubling the camper. They seem calm on the surface, yet the way they describe the previous night makes it clear they barely slept. They had stayed awake for a long time, feeling unsettled and unable to relax. That feeling prepares everything that follows.
Awake for about, 10 minutes, and I was thinking about what transpired during the night. I was completely wide awake, and as I got a little bit emotional about what happened with my dog earlier, a very large human thing walked up to my tent while I was wide awake. I started hollering.
Then they explain what actually happened. At some point during the night, while they were completely awake, something moved toward the tent. The steps sounded heavy. They called out into the darkness loud enough to be heard while also trying to wake their companion. That was when the situation changed from an uneasy feeling into a real event.
I kept hearing this dog tinging, just like we heard the last time, and he's not moving. He's sleeping right beside us. And what did I say, Ash? You're not taking my dog. And when I said that...
Afterward, the dog stopped resting. It became alert and shifted closer to the camper. The timing matters because the dog responded to something, and it matched exactly what had just happened.
It was like, I don't know, he was reading Zach's mind before he even said it. So at the same time, all of a sudden, I turn around to look at Zach. He's that concerned, and he could feel it. Like Tucker himself could feel.
Yeah, and then Tucker was sleeping in the tent with me, and...
Once everything calmed down, they tried to understand it, but there was nothing visible to study. The entire encounter existed only through sound and through the way it felt in that moment. By the end of the conversation, nothing is explained. The night remains unresolved. What makes this case work is the sequence unease before sleep, footsteps in the dark, a shout outward, then the dog moving closer without being called. Each detail follows the last in a way that is hard to dismiss as coincidence. What do you think was walking toward that tent in the middle of the night?